What do you think yourself, though? So when she was contrasting a lot of the different players, by the way, we unabashedly on this show lean into our NA bias. We are biased to NA. That's just the way the show goes. Spoiler, it's just because we're secretly trying to get you hired to work in NA.
I want a visa, man.
No, so keep it under your hat, though. Keep it under your hat. So my question would just be, like, do you ever watch VCT NA? You ever watch the NA region?
Sometimes I do. Yeah, sometimes I do.
What do you think of Leaf?
I think overrated, to be honest.
He is?
Yeah, I mean,
okay.
I want him at champs, and
it's true. He hasn't been in much tournament show.
Like already, if I beat someone and he didn't beat me, I already consider him like much lower.
Okay,
that's like always for me, and also like, yeah, he may be like maybe considered the best, but he didn't even like qualify out of 2 teams that qualified, and like I just don't see like why right now. Yeah, he has insane numbers, but like
I'm almost scared to ask what you think of fucking TenZ. Then it could burn the whole podcast down. Come on, then. What do you think? Fucking hell. Bloody hell.
TenZ is like,
overrated, maybe.
I will always consider him good, but like right now, like fell off a bit or like has a slump or whatever. He can bounce back, like if he wants to, I think, and if he puts time. And also, like, it's not only his problem. The whole team.
No, of course,
like that.
Yes,
so
they've got a whole lot of
like,
problems. Yes,
yeah. But I don't want to trash talk them.
No, fair enough.
Because I lost to them in the finals, so.
Okay, I see. At least I can see sort of his method of operation. It's like if he beats you,
quite a while ago, though.
No, it doesn't matter. If he beats you, you are below him. If you beat him, you are above him. Listen, it's a very simple system. Like he's on sort of like a feudal system or something from back in the day. So okay, here's the question then, right? Obviously, one of the reasons why you never got to play is because even though on paper in the group stage, that looked doable, like that wouldn't be impossible. They could sneak out second, maybe. The problem is, as we're going to talk about on this episode, it turns out there almost are no bad teams at the fucking tournament, including all regions. Magically now, have just been like, it's something like fucking diversity wet dream. Like everyone is just equally good or something mad and has their own chance to win. So as we found out, like at the time, by the way, initially looked embarrassing that like Zeta can get out. Now it looks great. They're fucking one of the top teams in the tournament. So were you shocked at the level of some of the other teams, Derke?
Yeah, I was shocked by Zeta and Paper X. Also, I knew Loud is gonna like make upsets or get high, but I didn't think like that high. Yeah. And I think Optic was like expectable.
Right.
But like
a lot of people thought they might be the best.
I'm surprised like by the other 3 teams a lot, especially Zeta, because I didn't think they will even like get out of groups. They did, and like they're doing a really good job right now, and watching them is also like really nice. Even I stole a lot of things right now from Lacy and Dep, and like using it even right now in practice and things like.
Is their style unusual, do you think?
Huh?
Have they got an unusual style?
I mean, yeah, I think especially Lacy is doing something like what most of the players, especially in the EU, like don't do or don't have balls to do. So right now I'm just like testing it out, and it actually just works because usually no one expects it, but he does it in like really good timings.
Okay. Listen, I could be off on this one. Which team was it, Gio? Was it Zeta or Paper X was the one that we were talking about where it's like they attack like early in the round or whatever and they can upset some of the tactical things? Do you remember who we were referring to last episode when we talked about that?
Yeah, I think
I'm sure it was like an Asian team, right?
We were talking about who...
You pick the one you want to start with, but obviously we've got all these great underdog teams we can talk about. So pick one that you've been interested in that's made it thus far. Let's get into it.
Me?
Yeah, like maybe do you want to keep going on Zeta? What do you want to do?
I mean, Zeta is really interesting because, again, yeah, like I agree with you. I mean, Laz has obviously kind of been the big player that everybody's talking about with them as just having been phenomenally impressive. Zeta beating DRX, I think, was like a huge surprise that at least I didn't foresee. I mean, obviously in the last episode that we did, we were kind of talking about our expectations for the playoff bracket. And, we got it got to the game where Loud beat Team Liquid. And I was like, well, fuck, all of our like predictions that we made are already gone to shit.
Sure.
So, but Zeta beating DRX that was a game that I really didn't foresee because, I thought the DRX were going to be like structured and stable enough to make it further in the bracket. And that for me is probably the game that has really piqued my interest about Zeta, even though they've beaten, they beat Team Liquid just prior to that, and they obviously had a really good run in the group stage or whatever, but like that was the game that for me, I was like, oh wow, okay. And now Zeta and Paper Rex are going to be playing against each other in their next game, and that is a game where I really struggle to think about who I think is going to win. And I think part of the reason I struggle with that is because Paper Rex had the buy-in to the playoff bracket, and therefore we've seen more from Zeta than we have from Paper Rex. Yes. So like part of me is like, all right, Zeta, they've like got their hands dirty, like they're a known quantity now, and they've been consistent in this, and Paper Rex have only played a couple games. But Paper Rex have also 2-0'd both of those games, and they were both like major region teams.
For sure, yeah. Potential favorites, right?
Yeah. The fact that they beat G2, like G2 barely got to look at the competition. Like, they barely got to experience this bracket. So I know I've kind of gone off on a tangent because I've sort of spoken about both of the teams because they're going to be playing against each other in this next game. But I really, really genuinely don't know who to expect to win that. If I really had to pick, I'd probably say Zeta, only probably because we've seen more of them, which isn't necessarily a super fundamentally robust reason, but I haven't got anything better than that.
Fair enough. Okay. So when in need, you have to do what you have to do. Exactly. Want to see more cool, funny, interesting clips based on topics from my content? Well, subscribe to this channel then, or, be a pleb and don't.